Okay, guys, after Newton corpuscular theory, another scientist proposed a theory which is called Hygienes Principle. This principle or this theory was proposed by Christian Hygiene in 1670. Now, according to this principle or this theory, light behaves as a wave and it travels in the form of wave. Each wave, let's suppose we have a water wave, okay? Water wave, this is let's suppose we have a pond. In this pond we drop a pebble here, then we produce a disturbance here. So due to this disturbance, waves are spreading towards the edges in this form. Let's suppose I consider only this part of this wave. Then this part is called wavefront. Wavefront. So according to this principle, I will write this principle first. According to this principle, every point on a wavefront may be considered a source of secondary spherical wavelet. Spherical wavelet, which spread out in the forward direction at the speed of light. What it basically means, suppose we have a wavefront, or we have a wave. Let's suppose we have this wave. Now I consider few points on this wave. This wavefront, this is the wavefront. I consider few points on this wavefront. Let's suppose I consider how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So according to this principle, every point on this wavefront become a source of light. That this wavefront also produce light. Now this every point on this wavefront, here we have these 5 points. Each point is a source of light, a secondary spherical wavelet. Like this point also produce light, 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 this point also produce light. So if this light wave reach to this point, then light spread in all direction from each wavefront. This is hygiene principle. Like every point, let's suppose we have different points on this wavefront, then every point on this wavefront become a source of light. Source of secondary spherical wavelet means source of light, which spread in the forward direction. Now the new wavefront can be obtained by plotting a tangent to all these secondary wavelet. Like this is one secondary wavelet, this is another secondary wavelet, this is third secondary wavelet. So if we draw a tangent line, this is tangent to this one. So here this is tangent to this one, this is tangent to this one, this is tangent to this one, this is tangent to this one. Then this new wavefront, the original new wavefront was this one. The new wavefront is now this one. This new wavefront is called secondary wavefront. Secondary wavefront, we call it secondary wavelet. And the original one is called primary wavefront. I can explain it in another way. Suppose we have a primary wavefront. Let's suppose this is the primary wavefront, and I consider few points on this wavefront. Here I consider only 4 points on this wavefront. Each wavefront become a source of light. It emits light. This also emit light. This also emit light. This also emit light. So if we take a tangent to this new secondary wavelet, like these are the secondary wavelet, then this tangent or this new wavefront is called secondary wavelet or wavefront. If I consider a plane wave, like if wave approaches to a point where it looks like a plane wave, then each point on this wavefront become a source of light. Like this wavefront produce a light, this wavefront also 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 produce a light. If we take a tangent to this new wavefront, then this is called secondary wavefront, and this is called primary wavefront. So this theory was experimentally proved by a scientist whose name was Young Thomas. By giving his double slit experiment in 1801. So this scientist, Young Thomas, experimentally proved hygiene principle. Experimentally proved the wave nature of light by considering the hygiene principle. So hygiene says that light waves are mechanical wave. He says that light waves are mechanical wave. By mechanical I means they need a medium for propagation. So for the medium, for the propagation of this light wave, according to hygiene principle, they need medium, and the medium, he introduced another concept which is called ether. So according to this hygiene principle, the universe is filled with this ether. This ether is basically elastic medium. is smaller density. So according to hygiene, the universe is filled with elastic and small density medium, density particle of medium, which is called ether. So the universe is filled with this ether, so it means that light travel from one point to another point by penetrating through this ether. So it means that for propagation of light, we need a medium. Now later, another scientist, two more scientists, they disproved this concept of ether, and they says that the universe is not filled with elastic medium or small density medium ether. The universe is not totally filled with this ether, and they disprove this concept of ether, which was given by hygiene, that universe is filled with ether. Now, hygiene principle explain the phenomena of interference and diffraction. It explains the phenomena of interference and diffraction. So it explains these two phenomena. These are the wave phenomena of light. Now we have again some drawbacks of this hygiene principle, and the first drawback is the first drawback of this hygiene principle is, like, this principle cannot explain the polarization of light. It cannot explain the polarization of light. And also we have another drawback of this principle, which is, according to this theory, ether medium exists everywhere. Like, nature is filled with ether. Nature is filled with ether. Like, by ether we means a medium with elastic medium with smaller density. According to this principle, nature is filled with this elastic medium with smaller density, which they call ether. But in reality this was not correct. So another two scientists, one is called Michelson and the other one is Morley. They disprove the existence of ether medium in the universe. They says that universe is not filled with this elastic medium or smaller density medium ether. So these were the two drawbacks of this hygiene principle. Next we have Maxwell theory of light. Now, according to this theory, light is an electromagnetic wave. It's an electromagnetic wave. And it contain both electric and magnetic field, such that electric and magnetic field, they are both perpendicular to each other, There is a 90 angle between these two, and these electric and magnetic field, they attract and repel each other. Due to this attraction and repulsion, there is an oscillation between electric and magnetic field. Due to this oscillation, this wave move in this way, such that the direction of propagation of this light is perpendicular to both electric and magnetic field. This was Maxwell theory. And also he also derived a formula for the speed of light, and for the speed of electromagnetic wave, and he shows that electromagnetic wave move with a speed which is equal to 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second, which is the speed of light. We call it c. So this was Maxwell theory, and next we have Planck's quantum theory of light. Theory of light. Now this theory tells us that electromagnetic wave, EM means electromagnetic wave, carry energy while it's moving from one point to another point. Like when electromagnetic wave move, they carry energy from one point to another point. And the energy can be travel, or the energy can be carried in the form of small packet. Like wave carries energy in small packet, and this packet they call quanta. This small packet they call quanta, and the energy of this quanta is E is equal to h nu, where E is the energy of wave, and h is called Planck's constant, and nu is the frequency. So according to Maxwell theory of light, when light travels from one point to another point, it also carry energy from that point to one point to another point. Let suppose a light wave move from this point to this point. So this light also carries energy from this point to this point. But the energy carried by this wave is in the form of small packet, and those packets he called quanta. The energy of each quanta, E, is equal to h nu, where h is the Planck constant and nu is the frequency of light. This was Planck's quantum theory of light. So we discuss different theories of light. Next we will move to the phenomena of interference. Like we will prove that this light or the light behave as a wave, and we will explain the interference of light by using Young double slit experiment. As I already mentioned before, that the Hygienes principle was proved experimentally by a scientist whose name was Thomas Young, young Thomas, by giving us double slit experiment. In the next video we will discuss that one. Thank you.